people away and then start to develop the landscaping, but without destroy the natural landscaping. It is just only nature, and in such a way that can be reused for agriculture in a massive way, or reused for tourism in a more larger scales way. So there is a land with architecturing with story. So you can see that these are the community that they transform, and so on and so forth. So these are a little bit more larger scale and looking into tourism and sustainability. And so backing into as the SDGs of the Dr. Priya talk about, which is very much comprehensive, universal. And so these are the things that is not that straightforward, and it really needs everybody's opinions and active participation. That's doing good. It's really the some things that we all know about it in corporate social responsibility, CSR, or corporate social innovation. But in view of the SDG, sustainable cities and communities, I put up the very simple model, which is coming from just drawing from the definitions of United Nations on this, and translate into some things that we can see easily, is that there is and also from the perspective of Dr. Priya, the positivity and positive mindset. So there is this positive development to reach and enable the realizations of SDG. But there is also, bear in mind that our development, because of our thinking and because of our procedures and because of our innovative ideas, or because of whatever, the negative developments could happen, and that have the potentials to drag the sustainability SDGs 11's system and development process, such as the COVID-19. And within that, we need active, inclusive participation. We can call it civil participation, but also need to be process-oriented. So we realized that this natural COVID-19 man-made natural disasters could easily disrupt or induce or this both sides of the development. What I want to look at it is particularly drawn from Dr. Priya is do not forget about mindset. For example, if you look into Thailand, mindset is very much dragging us because sustainability until today, we are still focusing on sustainability SDG in the sense that it is just environmental and social issue. And it is not a philosophy or concept that help us manage business, meaning that we are looking from the risk perspective, we are looking from reputation perspective, we're looking for corporate social responsibility perspective. That is not part of the mindset to drive each part of each of the process and activities that we do. So these are the things that the model. And this development thing you can see, I'll give you a couple of examples that people has done, these positive developments or things. You can look at the many different developments, right? If you systematically studies and research upon, you can come up with a lot of developments. But today I will also share a more big picture of development. But if you drill down into the detail, you could have authoritative instruments, incentive instruments, symbolic and advisory instruments, capacity building, which is very important, and system change, because without the capacity you can't coordinate and use your resources. So we have the ecological resources, we have the financial resources, we have the ecological resources, environmental, social resources. All this needs capacity building capability to equip, to coordinate and innovatively using them. And that definitely this positive definitely will reach and induces the output, right? So there are different perspectives. You can go into a deeper levels and how we can involve all the different stakeholders with implementations and policies and then indicators like I shared a couple of minutes ago, and then we can transform and with the story on this SDG design. And there are a lot of detail. You can do it step by step and whatever, which involve different stakeholders, opportunities, right? What we could do and what kind of shortcomings we have. And then from there, we can incorporate this as the opportunity and the threat and developing the capability, which is SWOT. So this capability is really nothing but SW SWOT analysis, which is this page. Okay, so you can see a lot of things that you can do snapshot. So now coming to what I would summarize as the backgrounds. Now I give you the snapshot of what's happening. Under all the previews of what I have said, the current snapshot still indicating that we we are not really quite easily able to reach out to reach our goal. And share of the urban populations living in slums still continue to rise, especially after the COVID-19, and these things are happening. And the accessibilities within the public, the transport accessibility within the city itself is getting tougher and tougher. And pollutions wise, we can see a lot of the pollutions everywhere on the cities, and it's never stopping. And all these issues are really still continuing. And in terms of just even those, my topic would cover mostly, I have given you starting on communities, but I just want to give you this sustainability current snapshot status. If, for example, if you look into the sustainable city, and Paris is one of the very much sustainable city, and if you look into the COVID-19 transform that city into this garbage, rubbish, trash. And this is only a small part. If you look across the whole Paris, it's all everywhere it's garbage. And so we have some scopes of in build of all this, we have some scopes of academic effort, evidence in university ranking or SDG, particularly in 11 category, but more holistic and systemic efforts are still needed. Some of the universities' rankings focusing on SDGs, that they have publications and research effort. The SDGs 11s are included in the Times ranking, Times Universities rankings. So there's some effort, but again, as I said, more holistics and systemic efforts are still needed. Judging by what we have seen in our cities and communities around the globe, we may need to apply a more systemic, more social, cybernetic oriented. Social means we have to include mindset, we have to include participation, we have to include social networks, social psychological things like Dr. Priya talked about it, but we also need to make use of all the indicators and computer systems and technologies, the cybernetics feedback control system, sort of a complex adaptive systems approach. And here I adopt a concept of strategic management and marketing to share my conclusion, which is coming to an end, conclusions with this big picture. So what happened is that Dr. Priya says that if we want to do something, we got to be the change. So let us be the change. So we got to have the change. We got to have political. I will come back to those picture. We need to initiate political change. We need to initiate technological change. We need to initiate cultural change. We need to initiate our business model changes, such as rural revitalization. Instead of moving into the city, why don't we change the business model of the rural? So we really need to be the change. So these changes. These changes, such as political, all these changes would then induce us this change. We have political change, we have environmental, technological change, economic change, social. All this would then drive the systematic development of our business, which involves market, which involves company, which involves customers, which involves ecosystem, which involves our livelihood. Again, it doesn't. We have no ways to avoid business ecosystem. So what I would like to demonstrate from here is that if we look into the various perspective, systemic perspective that of the UN SDGs, we know that from these politicals, we are aiming for government-to-government connectivity to peace. We are looking for economy to economy, B2B, business to business connectivity of prosperities of these of the business. We are looking into this people to people connectivity of this peace and so on and so forth. And to do that change, we need a proactive management of policies and institutions and public governance system. And in order to make use of all these technologies, we need digitizations. And we cannot avoid it, and we need across the horizontals, political connecting to economy, to social culture. We need globalization, and we need a more futuristic, knowing that technologies are influence our business ecosystem. So not some of the futurization concepts of these horizontals, company, market, customer, and then from this another part is the enablers. Nowadays is the ecosystem. So we are now transforming to every part of the ecosystem. Business is touching upon ecological ecosystem. Business is integrating with the social ecosystem. Business is integrating with even business ecosystem, meaning networking, network and value chain transformation. So all these this ecosystem, all these opportunity, and in order to do all these things, we need shared sustainability vision. That is not only a simple one-to-one procedures or process. We need to improve the entire social government business technology coordination to this shared vision. So collectively driven by the common shared vision, sustainability and resilience, and then we can realize and make use of this development, and so that we can develop our communities, cities, like a complex adaptive control system, not more systematically. Okay, so these are things. I will skip this, and so let me show you now, almost nearing to the conclusions with my own research presentation on what I found from rural communities sustainability. And I found out one of the very important thing is that if you want for the rulers to be able to sustain and self-regulated, self-organize themselves, not only touching upon this ecological, social, but also the very important is their livelihood, which is the economical issue. The very fundamental thing is, again, coming back to social issue. So we have to ensure that by working on SDG, do not ignore social issue, human capital, development, attitudes, and belief of Dr. Priya talked about it, and do not forget about innovation, because the world is not leaving us behind, and we have to be innovative. And the more innovative we are, actually, we are training the ruler to be more capable of upgrading their knowledge, which is, again, Dr. Priya talked about it, the knowledge. It's a very, very, very important. And never forget about competency-based developments or capability development, and the developing various perspectives, whichever the ruler is trying to do in a very systematic manner. From only we have these strong value creation sources, then we can values produce it by the rulers. Then we can deliver the values that offered by the rulers. Then we can capture the sustainabilities of the rulers. And so these are what they have done in coffee, in tea, and they have to develop the competencies in grinding, in roastings, in knowledge gaining and learning from other peoples, and sharing with tourists, and offering this and then teachings and learning, and actually going to the rulers and transform it, and so it's of organic wise. And then from there we can realize we can then get the well-beings of the rural communities. So under this situation, there is no need for the young people to rush to the city. Maybe we can do that and go into the communities. And this is a small scale. If we go to China, some other countries, maybe they are much larger scale. But again, I'm sure that the social psychological factors that brings about the SDGs well-being is not much different, and the ability to explain is very high, 0.7, 0.8, and so for this I will not just give you intuitively. This graph, empirical graph, is just nothing but just this theoretical reflection. And you can extend those community development into tourist behavior, and the tourists matching very well. Consumer behaviors and community developments matching very well. So this I did a holistic from supply side behavior to the consumer behavior, and it works very, very well. So last message from me today: resilience. It's just 2 or 3 pages. Resilience and sustainability needs to be participatory and process oriented. Okay, these are all process oriented. And these are all process oriented. So we do not ignore process. Requires community to demonstrate self-organizing capacity, meaning that if they want to self-organize, meaning they need vision, mission, attitudes. Okay, we in the cybernetics context we call autogenesis. And focus and acquire the capacity of these individual, community, institution, business, and ecosystems within the city, nations to survive and adapt and grow. We need autopoiesis production, self-productivity, and in the domain of social cybernetics, we call autopoiesis. And that means that we need the civil participation to help develop the community and organize the community, and then from there, then we can develop the sustainability consequences, which influence the attitudes and beliefs. So values and belief needs a process to develop it. So resilience is a gradual process. It's a gradual attitude development process. By that, then we can, once we have a good belief, attitudes and belief system, then we have acquired the fundamental ability to absorb the shock. So when the shock coming, then the community can release their energies and resources to change and reorganize their system again and again in a resilience manner. And that also has been proven, shown by myself in the different communities in Thailand. So that again, today, this is what my sharing on top of Dr. Priya. And really, it's just empirical and theoretical inclusion of this demonstrations of what Dr. Priya have said. So thank you very much.
So thank you very much, Dr. Tan. Thank you very much for being with us from the land of Thailand. Thank you very much, sir. Sir, in your presentation, you have mentioned about the Singapore's toilet to tape concepts. So here, I would like to inform all about you. What is the Singapore's toilet to tape concepts? Just wait a minute. Yeah.
That's good.
Singapore is a city of superlatives. And they introduce the toilet to tape concepts. So I'm just sharing the thoughts that what is the toilets to tape concepts. See, Singapore is one of Asia's most powerful economies, but it lacks a reliable water supply. Wastewater reuse plants could change, but they soon recycling enough sewerage to meet 50% of nation's water needs. So, Singapore introduces the toilet to tapes concepts. And according to the toilet to tape concepts, just hold on, I'm sharing some thoughts regarding this concepts. Yeah. Yes. Millions of people don't have enough potable water, with the problem particularly occur in the large urban centers, such as the city, state, and the other villages. So, to reduce the problem of water scarcity, the Singapore government introduces the toilet to tape concepts. So this is all about the toilet to tape concepts. Mr. Dr. Tan, I would like to know about these concepts from your side.
I do not know in detail, but this concept is really nothing but utilizing all the machinery and chemical reactions to purify all those issues. You can easily find it. But I have the reasons why I'm so easily recall this recycling issue of Singapore is because when I was attending one of the international conference organized by university. National Universities of Singapore, and sharing with talking to these the city's ministers, and he make a very great presentation. And that presentation is 1 hour on the dinner time, and he is a minister, but we are eating, and he is sharing what Singapore is doing. And I was very impressed that Singapore's the way they develop the city is ensuring a couple of things. One of them is participation. They ensure that everybody has voice, and they integrate everybody's voice. And second thing is that they integrate using innovation, and they are willing to spend monies on technologies, and they're willing to hire people and get things done. And these are the basic foundations and behind this city activeness and development. but waters is very important because they rely very much buying waters from Malaysia's and Indonesia, and so they have to be sell capability to generate and I mean to have a clean water. So they nowadays all the cities water, all the waters in the whole Singapore is every toilets when you flush the toilets, all the waters will go into a treatment processing underground and some way, and then they will treat all the systems and then reuse it again. So almost I think 70-80% of the waters are nowadays like this. And so there's look there the other thing is that they have to slowly develop some sea waters plus some other things. So they have some additional waters, fresh water, and then plus this recycled water. So the whole city now want aiming for completely 100% recyclable water. So you can see they recycle again and again and again and again and again and again. And so this something that Singapore has done. Yeah, not difficult for the water. You can go into the details of the Google. It's all about technologies. Yeah, water
Yes, yes.
treatment. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, and I must appreciate that what is a great technology, what is an innovative thing this is, toilet to tape concepts. And thank you very much, sir, for enlightening us with this beautiful concepts and with your wonderful thoughts related to the sustainable cities and communities, which is our sustainable development goal 11. Thank you,
Thank you.
Dr. Tan. Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Just hold on. I'm taking, yeah, thank you very much, sir. Thank you. And yes, we got a very good capture from your side. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. So, moving ahead, I would like to call our next speaker, Dr. Professor Rajkumar Singh. Professor Rajkumar Singh, are you ready with your presentation?
I will not have my presentation. I will just have extempore speech.
Okay, okay. So please go ahead, sir. Please go ahead, sir. You are most welcome
Namaskar
here,
to
sir.
everyone.
Yes, sir. Please
Namaskar,
introduce sir
namaskar to
first.
everyone.
Yes, sir. Please introduce yourself, sir.
Myself, Professor Dr. Rajkumar Singh. I am from India, School of Management Sciences, Varanasi. I am Professor, Dean, and Head over there. First, I would like to thank Dr. Supriya Pathak, the convener and the Director for Foreign Affairs of British Gossip Association, for organizing this excellent Global Peace and Sustainable Development Summit 2021. And she has given me the responsibility of the Sustainable Development Goal of UN Goal 11. Yes, as you all know, this is the sustainable cities and communities. We have gone through two very excellent presentation by Madam Priya Samanji and Chai Ching Kanji. So many data has been shared, so many statistics has been shared. So I will not repeat those things to avoid the duplicacy. Rather, I will try to include those things which has not been included and which are something different. So far as the sustainable cities and communities aspects are concerned, what is my perspective of seeing towards these things? I am seeing towards the two dimensions. One is the mindset, what our mindset is, the psychological and sociological dimensions. And the second thing, which we have forgotten, especially Indians, our spiritual value system, the rich spiritual value system, we have forgotten. Just I would like to make you remind about. We have forgotten, that's why we are suffering from three problems: the population, pollution, and corruption. The entire problem behind this sustainable cities and communities, especially in India, is this. We are overpopulated. We are increasing our population day by day. Pollution is increasing, and our corruption is also increasing. And we have seen there is an unsystematic development of the township because of this corruption. We have allowed the people to make the township everywhere without any the civic amenities, and we are suffering from that. See, Charles Darwin has very long back said one thing: the survival of the fittest. Will not change with the time, will not survive. And the same situation has occurred. We have seen this COVID-19 era from last 1 year, and the entire pandemic has compelled us to come back to the nature. And now we are coming back to the nature. We are using the herbs, Kala, Giloy, Chompraj. What is that? That is an integral part of the Ayurveda. Can we survive? There is a one ancient Sanskrit sloka, Dharmardhaka Mokshanam Arogyam Moolamuttamam. Means if we have to perform our duty, if we have to earn money, we have to achieve the salvation, we need to be a healthy person. We have also observed that during this COVID-19 last 1 year, we are having the least pollution. Everything was clear. So we are in the root cause and we have to concentrate on ourselves. No doubt, people need basic facilities like home, food, clothes, education, road, electricity, sanitation, cleanliness, waste management, malnutrition, increasing population problems, social harmony. All these things are required. Few of the statistics I will share with you that more than half of the humanities are living in cities today. And in India, it is expected that by 2030, out of 10 people, around 6 people will live in the city, which is creating a lot of pressure on the city. And 13% of the urban household will not have the sanitary toilets. 62 million tons per annum waste will be generated in the cities. So this is creating a very horrible situation in front of us. See, we are having targets. One target is of the 11.2 that by 2030, it has to provide universal access to safe, inclusive and accessible green and public transport. Now, in the transportation process, we have seen in India, especially when the highways are being made, millions and millions of trees are cut down. And these trees are not recultivated. This is creating problem. If you see this, this 11th goal, increasing adoption city integrated policy is one of the aspects. Supporting of the building, resilient building is one of the aspects. To ensure the access safe housing services is another aspect. To provide access sustainable transport is another aspect. To enhance the inclusive sustainable urbanization is another aspect. To protect, safeguard and cultural and natural heritage. This is also important. To reduce the death losses due to the disaster is another aspect. To reduce per capita city environment impact is another aspect. And to provide access green public space is another aspect. I was talking about our spiritual dimensions. Around 7,000 years back, in Yajurveda, there has been a sloka. I will tell you that and I will translate in English. The sloka is that Om Deo Shanti Antariksha Shanti Prithvi Shanti Rapah Shanti Raushadha Shanti Vanaspatah Shanti Shanti Brahma Shanti Sarva Shanti Shanti Reva Shanti Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. What is the meaning of that? The meaning is that in planet everywhere there should be a peace. The galaxy and space should be in peace. The earth should be in peace. The water should be in peace. The house should be in peace. All the flora and fauna should be in peace. Problem is that we have disturbed this peace, and when we have disturbed the peace of the earth will disturb our peace. In industrialist civilization, if you see, at that time also, around 6,000 years back, there was an excellent urban civilization, excellent town planning was there, super sewage and drainage system was there without contaminating the Indus River, no congested township was there. Each road and street crosses at right angle to have a maximum flow and air to clean the city through its grid pattern. Proper trees were there for the super oxygen supply. But now with the increasing urbanization in India, we are seeing it's an unplanned, unway the things are increasing wherever the illegal colonies are being made. And because of this, the civic amenities are facing the problem. Although so many things has been told about the sustainable development process, we have to focus on that triple E bottom line approach for the planet, people, and profit. The society, the people, they should be in core because ultimately we have to live. And if we have to live, we have to live with the survival of the planet. And then the profitability will comes at the third part. Profitability must be there. No one can question about that. But whether this profitability is creating value for the society, this is recognizing the interdependence of the human being and the nature, whether this profitability is being used in eliminating of the waste through the corporate social responsibility. So far as the planet production is concerned, whether the energy flow is in the right direction or not, where the human and nature is coexisting with that or not, whether we are creating a model nature-human relationship or not. And so far as people is concerned, whether we are ready to share our knowledge or not, because this is the question on the existence of the human being all over the world. It doesn't matter whether you are living in which part of the world, and whether we are accepting our joint responsibility or not to increase our quality of way of life. Because entire sustainable chain, if you see the climate change, the governance of the sustainability, and the corporate citizenship, they become the integral part. So far as the governance of the sustainability is concerned, it needs to be transparent. It should be having the regulation and agreements. It should have some risk, but the opportunities also, and it should have the guideline for operation. Climate change is concerned, the carbon footprint, eco-efficiency, alternative sustainable energy dimension, standards and certifications are needed to control that. And so far as the corporate citizenship is concerned, the customer experience, the support internal culture, and equal balance and green economic development in the region all across the world is needed. Now a time has come to move towards the green technology, develop the green architecture, vertical gardening, vertical farming, organic products, green technology. Water is going to be a great problem for us. The clean water. I'm very much impressed with what Dr. Tan has told about the Singapore model. There are so many cities which are near no drinking water situation in near future, including the Cape Town, Sao Paulo, even Delhi also, Bangalore, Beijing, Cairo, Jakarta, Istanbul, Mexico, London, Tokyo, Jakarta, and Miami. This is creating a very horrible situation. And we need to work on the water harvesting part, groundwater recharging part, because rivers are narrowing down. We are seeing here in Varanasi, in Ganga, it's narrowing down day by day. Ponds and wells are being constructed. Illegal constructions are being made on that. That has to be re-explored. And again, of course, the reduce, reuse, and recycle aspect has to be there. We need to understand that fuel worth rupees 60,000 crore wasted annually due to heavy traffic congestion only in cities like Delhi. I'm giving you the example of Delhi. This traffic congestion on Delhi roads costs around $10 billion or about 60,000 crore annually because of this population. So this civic responsibilities needs to be increased. I was talking about the mindset. We are suffering from the dual standard of cleanliness. We want to clean our home, but we don't take care of the cleanliness of our society. We throw our dust in the street and we don't take care of others. Likewise, we need to make our students aware because they are the future citizens. In India, no doubt, the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, that is the Clean India Mission, is doing well in that direction. And Honorable Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, he has appealed for that. And in every villages, so many shauchalayas are being made, toilets are being made, so that there should not be any open defecation. Water conservation work is being done, and all these things are being done with the help of the government. Uh, Clean and green technology, again, I am talking on that. Non-conventional energy sources needs to be done, like solar energy, and some disruptive innovation is taking place. And it's good that Tesla like companies are coming with the electric car, and now Tata in India also has declared that they will also come with the electric car. And this will help us in the green transportation through the electric motors, through the green technology help. And of course, this will have tremendous startup opportunities. The entrepreneurial opportunities are concerned, because I would not like to spare this part, because entrepreneurial dimension. See, there is a phrase in the management that where there is a threat, always there is an opportunity. So with this threat in the sustainable development part, some new opportunities are also coming for the entrepreneurs. So renewable energy sectors like green power, solar energy, biofuels, hydroelectric, wind, geothermal, biomass, biofertilizers, non-conventional resources. These are creating a new entrepreneurial opportunities for them. And for that, proper innovation is needed, proper innovation management is needed, where the manufacturing part, where the design and interactivity part and the organizational behavior part has to be developed in the design innovation process by the proper technology, proper business, proper human value system. And we have to follow this entire change of the design thinking process, which is start from emphasizing of the problem, defining of the issues, ideating it, and developing the prototype, and test the model in the market and whether it is sustainable or not, and then practically implement it. So, just with a few lines, I would like to finish this. There is an ancient sloka that Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhavet. Everybody should be happy. Everybody should be free from any disease. Everybody's life should be good and well enough. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Sir, please do this. I'm taking your screenshot. Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. So, as you enlightened us about the Sanskrit shloka, you translated these Sanskrit shloka into the English. And thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your beautiful speech and your thoughts. In your speech, yes, in your speech, you enlighten us about the fact that earth should be in peace, water should be in peace, and of course, cleaning our home is our responsibility. But as like this, cleaning our cities is also our moral responsibility. And we should take care about our cities as we take care about our homes. Thank you very much, sir, for enlightening us with your beautiful thoughts. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
You also told us, yes, you also told us about the universal brotherhood. Universal brotherhood is most important thing for all of us. To be united is very essential in this COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you very much. Thank you, Shah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. And moving ahead, I would like to call our next speaker from the land of Philippines. So here, Dr. Gina Alcoriza. Dr. Gina, are you ready with your presentation?
Hi, ma'am.
Yeah,
Yes, good morning. Yeah,
good morning. And here is your beautiful face. We are waiting as you are the first addressee. Yeah,
thank you
you
so
very much.
much. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for the invitation once again. And of course, I would like to greet you happy morning, happy Sunday morning in India and the other parts of the world. So please allow me to share my screen.
Gina, you are a co-host, so you can share the presentation.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes,
Is
and
my
it has started.
presentation, ma'am, visible to your screen already?
Yeah, it is. It is going to start. Yes, yes. Here it is. Here it is. Yeah. Please make the slideshow.
Okay. So
Yeah.
good morning,
Wonderful.
everyone, and it's afternoon already here in the Philippines. Since we are talking about here the sustainable goals, uh, global, it should be global. I would like to share with you my thoughts about this goal 11, sustainable cities and communities through uh, an approach of having a comprehensive tourism plan, since I am actually engaged with tourism education. So here, the title of my talk is, of course, Building Sustainable Communities Through Local Tourism Development, Tourism Plan and Development. Yes, of course, we are all aware that our environment is devastated by so many disasters. And of course, we have the pandemic. We have a lot of pollution caused by the mobilization of people. So we are all aware of it. And of course, our society is very much endangered of a modern type of society. So definitely, we need to take actions on this, since we are in the proper authority as people, as the generation of having this kind of problems in our society and the whole world. So I am Professor Gina Alcurisa from the University of Santo Tomas Legazpi, Philippines. Okay, so April 11 is for Goal 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities. And I would like to salute the witty gossip, Ma'am Supriya, for having this kind of activity. This is really impressive, a very interesting and remarkable event. No, it's a 17-day run event, of course, to spread the words of sustainability. Salute to you, Mom, and advance congratulations. Okay, so our agenda here is, of course, Doctor, the other one, the speaker, minute ago, told about us the different problems faced by our society nowadays. So now my presentation, this is all about how can we get involved. So why we need to get involved? What may be the ways on how to get involved in this kind of goals of our society and the whole world, and what may be our actions? Okay, so why? Because global goals are the best plan to build back the better. So it's actually included in that document that these global goals actually a universal vision. So this is not only the vision of our country, but this is a universal vision. All of us are actually visioning for having a better future. And okay, and of course, a basis for renewed global coordination. So I actually write heard from Mom Supriya that we need brotherhood, we need collaboration, we need understanding in the whole world in order for us to renew no global coordination. And Earth is our home. Okay, an interconnected way of thinking. Okay, so this kind of activity is actually a way of having interconnection with other people, sharing our thoughts, sharing our what's in our minds, and of course our vision to our own community and in the whole um, country and the whole world. Leaving no one behind. This is actually a very powerful words, leaving no one behind. So we have to work together for the for the common good, for the good of everyone, not only for our family, but not only for our community, the local community we are in, but of course the whole world. Okay, everyone has a better part to play. So this is now our role. This is our role as academician, as scholars. We are actually, it's our responsibility to share knowledge, to share our thoughts, and of course um, to offer our services to the betterment of our communities. So why we need these goals? We need to take actions, not tomorrow, but today. Okay, so how to get involved? I get actually the targets of goal 11. So we have here 10 um, targets of goal 11. So for me as educator, okay, so we have to create actions along with these targets. So one is for us to be aware and of course share knowledge and spread the word, spread the awareness we had to other people, to our students, to our colleagues, to the people in the community. Okay, as a member of the community, we have to join the civic actions through civic organizations. As much as possible, as leaders, as educators, as scholars, it's our responsibility to share our time, our efforts, our talents to lead the community as much as possible. The communities actually need us as educators, as scholars, researchers, leaders. Support community projects. This is one of the most important things now that we can do. Support the government projects. Join public-private partnerships. Okay, so this is actually really speak on collaboration. So achieving those goals are not actually done by only one, but we need our partners in order for us to achieve these goals. Have the heart for the environment and the humanity. Okay, as educators, definitely we have the heart for this kind of environment we have nowadays, and of course the heart for our humanity, most particularly in the tourism industry. So we must have this. Okay, so be advocate of peace and love. So Ma'am Supriya is calling for brotherhood, for collaboration, and for taking actions of for us to achieve these goals. So definitely, as educators, as workers in the government and the private sector, we can be an advocate of peace. We can achieve these goals through to our society, love to our environment. Always remember that our ultimate goal is to protect and conserve our common home. Okay, so I would like to encourage everyone that we have to set in our minds that Earth, our environment, our society, actually our common home. If this Earth disappears, definitely we all disappear. Okay, so we need to create actions along these targets. We have here 10 targets. Save and a safe and affordable housing. Okay. Reduce environmental impact, okay, on communities, protect the world's cultural and natural heritage, inclusive and sustainable urbanization, reduce adverse effects of natural disasters, provide access to safe and inclusive green and public spaces, most particularly for women and children, implement policies for inclusions, resource efficiency, and disaster risk reduction, especially nowadays that we have the climate change. This is really important for us. Strong national and regional development planning. As far as tourism is concerned, I would like later, I'll be discussing to you this type of plan, okay, for regional, national, and local plan for tourism in order for us to achieve um, our targets, our goal 11, affordable and sustainable transport systems, and support least developed countries in sustainable and resilient building. Okay, this kinds of targets are actually very sound, not for us to have a better future. All we have to do is actually to integrate this in our plans, in our day-to-day endeavors, and our um, strategic plans in our own organizations. If you are in the academe, you can actually in, uh, get involved through incorporating this in your strategic plan in your school or respective universities. Or if you are in the community, you can actually those targets can be done through your actions in incorporating it in your plans in the in the communities. Okay, so remember that the greatness of a community is most accurately measured by compassionate actions of its members. So the members are actually us. Every one of us has better roles to achieve these goals. Okay. So as I told you, I would like to, as a tourism professor, and I am actually a consultant of some of the local government units here in our region in the Philippines. I would like to share with you that it's really important for us to um, in, incorporate all those goals, those targets in our urban or rural tourism plan. Okay, so since tourism is actually a very important industry nowadays in countries across the world, so it's better for us to take actions. Since I am in the tourism industry, I would like to share with you this, since we are aligned with the, and also Dr. Tan, we are aligned with this kind of industry. So tourism is actually um, a very important industry because of its um, the income coming from the tourism receipts now received by the communities, the job opportunities being provided by tourism in our communities, um, access to our locals, and of course for the tourists, a lot more. There are a lot of greater impacts or effects of tourism positively to our community. But of course, we cannot deny that tourism, because of its expansion, development, definitely tourism is one of the contributors of pollution, erosions, okay, and the devastation of our community and our environment, and of course the acculturation, Okay, the disturbance of our natural, the natural habitats of our flora and our fauna. Okay, tourism is actually one of the contributors of uh, distracting our culture and heritage. Okay, so since this, we cannot deny these things, so it's, as people in the tourism industry, it's good for us to have this plan, no, tourism plan, to be more sustainable in order to achieve our goals to have a better future for the next generation's future. Okay. So our plan must be objective. So we have to define our objective carefully. So our objective must be for the sustainability of its destination, to lessen or minimize the negative impact to the environment, to the economy, and of course to the society. So we have to um, define well the geographical concentrations with regards to our tourism planning and development. It's much as possible, we have to look into the most vulnerable areas that we can actually introduce sustainable tourism development. And those areas that really need our help for alleviating poverty and for cultural and environmental conservation. And to it's good for us to concentrate on a geographical unit uh, with have such protected areas, so that your plan can protect the environment and the other protected areas in your community. And you have to define well the timeline, because tourism plan is a time bound. Okay. And of course, inclusive and should be updated. Okay. So your plan must uh, have such inclusivity. One of the characteristics of a tourism plan is inclusive, and it should be updated. Depends on what is happening in the community. So since we are in the pandemic, so you, in your plan, you must also now incorporate uh, your strategies align with or along with this kind of pandemic or the post-pandemic scenario. And this should be strategic. So your strategies here must be sustainable towards the protection of our planet, towards the inclusivity in terms of the societal development, and of course for the progress of each community through income, through or job opportunities, through development, now economic development in the area. Okay, so as I told you, as I shared with you, that we need to take actions, not tomorrow but today. Make it happen. Okay, so in your tourism plan, you in this kind of endeavor, we have to make a very comprehensive tourism plan, whether it is for the local level, the regional, and the national. Here in the Philippines, we have actually a local tourism development in its province. We have provinces here at the municipalities or cities. And then we have also regional tourism plan for each region. And we have a very comprehensive national tourism development plan. Okay. In planning your tourism, so you have to involve the community and encourage, no, in your plan, you have to incorporate the empowerment of the community, because they are actually the our target to be benefited by this kind of development. Okay, and then of course don't forget to incorporate the government laws. So here in the Philippines, we have different laws like the National Integrated Protected Area System. We have the climate change adaptation to across the country with regards to tourism development, to the tourism enterprises and other concerns. We have the inclusive tourism type. We have the Magna Carta for women, Magna Carta for disabled persons, and we have actually the Magna Carta, or the law about the protection of the indigenous peoples here. And of course, we have the environmental policy, the segregation of the waste disposals, and we have the Clean Air Act, the Clean Water Act. Okay, so those are the government laws should be incorporated. As I mentioned, the government laws here in the Philippines, and we have the ASEAN laws also, since the Philippines is actually one of the 10 countries of the ASEAN region. So we also incorporate in our plans the ASEAN standards. Strategies should include the targets of SDG, of course. Okay. Sustainable development plan, okay, should be developed with the inclusions of the strategies on people, progress, and planet. So you have to focus on this, the society, the economy, and of course the environment. These are actually the pillars of sustainability. So during the implementation of the plan, don't forget to engage with collaboration, the public-private partnership, and it's good for us to assist, no, for us to have a, a very sustainable cities and rural communities. It's good for us to assist our local residents, most particularly the small and medium enterprises. Okay, and empower local and focus on local products. Okay, tourism is actually an advocate of go local. So we have to promote our local products. It's good to produce and promote it to other people, to our tourists, to our guests, and make our community be aware and let them appreciate the local products. Don't forget to protect women and children. Most particularly, tourism is actually an advocate of women and children protection. Okay, so we need to protect them, most particularly in the development areas. We have to include it in our plan, and during the implementation of the plan, we have to make sure that they are actually protected by our actions. Okay, build resilient communities, most particularly those countries with um, such disasters. Okay, I am speaking most of this because we experience a lot of calamities here, since we are in the Pacific Ring of Fire. We are located at the western part of the Pacific. So we are actually vulnerable for this kind of disasters, the natural disasters, earthquake, tsunamis, okay, typhoons, strong typhoons with signal number 4, okay, that can really devastate our regions here at the eastern coast of the Philippines. So I am actually speaking this because we experience a lot of these disasters. So we are advocate of this, building resilient communities. Okay, and of course, in implementation of the plan, we have to emphasize the capacity building. So since we are empowering our locals, we have to assist our locals. We need to capacitate them, train them, okay, assist them through trainings, and of course, we need to monitor, no, and evaluate our plan. So be objective on the feedbacks and take actions on failures and weaknesses actually. So it's good for us to monitor closely the, our implemented plans. If it is a long-term plan to 10 years or maybe 5 years, okay, so we can actually, it's our responsibility to monitor and evaluate the impact and the effectivity of our implementation of the plan. Okay, so it's actually it's our responsibility to be objective of what of the feedbacks, and of course it's our responsibility to take actions in cases of failures and weaknesses of this plan. So just to share with you, the Philippines has its barrier-free tourism, Kaya Natin To Philippines. Okay, so we have actually po okay, the inclusivity is actually um is in the air in the tourism industry here in the Philippines even before the pandemic. So inclusive tourism, this is all about barrier-free tourism used to categorize the travel needs of persons with disability. So we have this mandates on rights of persons with disabilities, and it's actually incorporated in our implementation of our national tourism plan. So the some of the encouraged SMEs or the tourism oriented establishments, tourism um, uh, enterprises are actually implemented this kind of inclusivity, this barrier-free tourism with government accreditation. So our project is, of course, the barrier-free tourism, Kaya Natin. We can, Kaya Natin means we can do it. Okay, so this project is actually a collaboration of multi sectors. So that, of course, the Department of Tourism, we have the National Council on Disability Affairs, we have the Department of Education for the SPED teachers or the special education teachers as tour guides, and of course for the facilities, we top the United Architects Association of the Philippines. Okay, so this is a collaborative project of many sectors here in the Philippines. And another thing, I'm sorry. Okay, another thing is green tourism. Many of our tourism establishments here actually practicing green tourism with DOT accreditation or tourism accreditation, along with the ASEAN green tourism standards, most particularly for food and beverage and hotels and resorts. So why green tourism? Development of worldwide societal consciousness about nature protection and appreciation, and growing interest by individuals to reconnect with nature. Yes, because of this kind um, of society nowadays, most of us are actually encouraged and we are interested to reconnect with nature and improve access to the countryside. So green tourism can really be a tool for us to access the countryside, or what we call here the outskirt of development. It's located in the countryside, to demonstrate practices for preventing or minimizing impacts to the environment, because green tourism really have this go local. We have solar panels that we use in order for us to conserve energy, and we have a lot of practices that really conserve our environment, to support the individuals working in the field of tourism, and we participate in measures to safeguard their green assets. most particularly the protected areas. Okay. And remember, my dear colleagues, that small acts, when multiplied by millions of people, can transform the world. So, this is the call for us to be united and to work hand in hand for us um, to achieve the goals and have a better future. And yes, before I end, alone we can do so a little. Together we can do so much. Okay, so my dear colleagues, thank you for listening. And I hope I share something with you, as we are all objective to have a better future for us and for our children and for the next generation. Thank you so much and good morning once again. Good afternoon for people at the eastern part of the world. Thanks so much, Ma'am
Yeah,
Supriya.
thank you, Gina. Yeah, thank you, Gina. Again, make this gesture. I just want to capture your screen. Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, thank you. So, Gina, you enlighten us about the tourism, especially the green tourism, and your whole presentation is connected with the tourism and the sustainable development goal, right? So, thank you very much for joining us, for enlightening us with your wonderful thoughts, with your amazing presentation. Thank you very much. And moving ahead, I would like to call our next speaker. And our next speaker is living in South Africa, and he is Dr. Ravindra Rana. Dr. Ravindra Rana, are you there?
Yes.
Wow.
Dr. Supriya, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You are audible and you are a proper visible.
That's good. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So Dr. Ravindra Rana is here for all of us from the South Africa, and he will enlighten us about the Sustainable Development Goal 11, which is sustainable cities and sustainable communities. So Dr. Ravindra Rana, now the screen is yours. So would you like to share the presentation, or you will go with your speech?
Well, Dr. Supriya, thank you, and good morning and good afternoon, colleagues, different corners of the world. I don't use PowerPoint, Dr. Supriya. My mind is a PowerPoint. I always believe
Yes.
that PowerPoint, if you do not have any point, use the PowerPoint. But I always believe that I got a mind which has got a power, and it has got some points to offer. So I never use any PowerPoints. I've been speaking to more than 100 conferences across the globe as a keynote speaker, as a chief guest, but I use my mind. Thank you.
Okay,
Well,
sir. Okay, sir.
I would like to thank the organizers of this particular important event, particularly Witty Gossip Association of India and Research Foundation of India, and the Tagore Shiksha Mahavidyalaya, and any other institution, Central University of Mahatma Gandhi Central University, Bihar, and a few other institutions, for bringing all of us together and to share some of the important issues related to every one of us. So we need to debate on these particular events. For the past 11 days, we've been discussing, and in the coming 6 days also, we'll be discussing on the issues. Well, starting from April 1st and April 17th, so this is how, the 17 days time we're going to discuss about the 17 goals. So ladies and gentlemen, today is the yet another important day that we're discussing about the smart cities and also the communities, or the development of the communities. So why we need to look at the smart city concept here, and why do we need to think about our communities development here? So I would like to give you some perspective. The perspective is that, ladies and gentlemen, if we look at the population, population is the biggest issue here. That's when we talk about the smart cities. The population about 2020 years ago, what was our population? We got only 250 million people. And from 250 million, about 1020 years ago, there were only little more than 300 million people. And if you look at 1300, about 1700 years ago, we were only 450 million people. Now, when did we reach first billion? We reached first billion only 1804. 1804, that is when the world population became 1 billion, right? So we got more than 1000 million people only not long time back, just a little more than 200 years ago. Now today, we are sitting with the population of 7.8 billion people in 200 years time. So if you look at it categorically, our population, first billion was 1804, second billion was 1927. And it took more than 123 years for us to become 1 more billion. And the third billion we reached in 1960 in less than 33 years time. And then if you look at the statistics, go on, ladies and gentlemen, by our 4 millions we reached in 1984. So imagine the way that we are going, or the way that we are growing exponentially, the population explosion has taken place. So now we reach to this level, we are getting close to 8 billions anytime soon in the coming couple of years. In this 200 years period, 8 billion, 8 times we grew. So this is what is known as population explosion. According to the Malthusian theory of population, probably about 230, 240 years ago, Malthusian was also predicting about this kind of population explosions before even we become first billion. So anyway, he was telling about atrocities, and he was telling about natural calamities such as the earthquakes and tsunamis and this and that, and the viruses like this. So anyway, I'm not going to touch the details of that. Now, when the population is growing exponentially, it has got a pressure on the urban areas because everybody wants to move to urban areas. Urban areas, we got the infrastructure problems, the water supply problems, electricity supply problems, and infrastructure includes roads. And there are so many other drainage problems that we have in the urban areas. So if you look at the urban sector, what is the population today that living in urban areas? Ladies and gentlemen, we are about 55% of the global population today is living in urban areas. Of course, in India, we are not even meeting the global standard. All over the globe, 55% people, they live in urban areas, whereas in India, 40% people only live in urban areas. So 15% we are less than the global standards. We must think about that. Although India is the second largest populated country in the world, which is close to 1.38 million people. We are getting close to 1.4 billion people very soon. And now, if you look at the entire population, we got probably close to 6 lakhs villages in the country and 600,000 villages, whereas the urban cities like Mumbai and maybe Calcutta, we have cities like Hyderabad, Chennai, Delhi, and these are the major cities where we have a population between 15 million to 20 million people living only in one particular city. We must think about that. If you look at the population size of Mumbai, sometimes it is much bigger than the population of many countries in the world, including countries like Australia, which has got 25 million, and Mumbai population is also getting close to 25 million in between, etc. We must think about that. So Australia is bigger than India in size, but Mumbai is part of India. It's a major populated and commercial capital of India, where the population size almost getting close to the country population. So there are many countries in the world. The Zimbabwean population is less than 20 million, and we got 20 million in Maharashtra, Mumbai city alone, ladies and gentlemen. how we have to plan our infrastructure that can fit and that can accommodate these 20 million people in a city like Mumbai. That's the biggest challenge we have. We have so therefore, I would like to touch upon the point here that 55% of the total population of this world living in the urban areas, whereas 45% of the people living in the rural areas. This is the global standard. Of course, in African cities, they vary. There are some cities in Africa and some countries in Africa, only 10 to 20% people live in urban areas, and remaining 70 to 80% people, they still live in the rural areas. So Africa is also not been there in the scene yet. And maybe in the cities like probably Paris and maybe Germany or Germany cities, also the urbanization is increasing rapidly. So if you look at this population, which is about 4.2 billion people of this world living in the urban areas. So meaning that out of 7.8 billion people that we have, 4.2 billion people living in the urban areas. Now, in the coming 2030, in the coming 9 to 10 years period, that is going to grow up further to 60% of the population going to live in the urban areas. So meaning that from 4.2 billion people today, we may increase another billion people in the coming, or maybe another 2 billion people, about 6.2 billion people. That is the population going to be living in urban areas by 2030. That is why United Nations is worried about. In the coming 10 years, 6.2 billion people out of the 9 billion people that we're going to have, or 9.5 billion people in the coming 10 years period. And how are we going to accommodate them? What is going to happen to us? The way the Maharashtra's Mumbai city and Delhi city and probably other cities of India, Hyderabad and Pune and Ahmedabad, and the cities number go on. If you look at the population of those cities about 50 years ago, what was the population we had? And what is the population today? What would be the population in the coming 10 years period? How do we accommodate these people to live peacefully in a sustainable manner with safe drinking water and safe environment where there is a safety, security without having crimes? So crimes becoming is one of the major problems for us. And city like New York and city like Washington, DC, and probably Johannesburg city, where I'm sitting in South Africa. Johannesburg is one of the major cities in not only in African continent, but also in the world. We're probably close to 10 million people living in that Johannesburg city alone. The crime rate is climbing up. In Delhi, in Mumbai, in Hyderabad, and in maybe in other cities of India, also crime rate is climbing up. So in order to build a sustainable future for us, for our people, we need to mitigate the crime. When the population is increasing rapidly, and the control over those crime rates will also be declined. And it will be difficult for the police and difficult for the government, difficult for the communities in general to try to control the crime rates, no matter whatever we do. So there would be a serious threat for the population to live peacefully when there is a rapid urbanization, when there is a massive amount of people living in those areas. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to remember that Dharavi, many of you from India must have heard and read about Dharavi. Is a slum. It's one of the biggest slums in the world, probably biggest in Asia. In Dharavi alone, ladies and gentlemen, which is about, what is the size of Dharavi? And Dharavi is only 2.1 square kilometer land, where the concentration of people living there and the density of people living there is more than 280,000 people. 280,000 people living in within the range of 2.8 million people, 2.1 square kilometers land, ladies and gentlemen. If you look at the density of population, which is about 2.8 or 280,000 people living in 1 square kilometer land, and in a situation like this, where we want to practice the social distancing and this corona lockdown period, and is it possible for us, people living in 1 square kilometer land, 280,000, how do they maintain the social distancing? That is why the climate for the past 1 week, 10 days, ladies and gentlemen, the infections, COVID infections are increasing rapidly in India. Close to 100,000 people get infected every single day. And in places like Dharavi and many other slum areas of Mumbai, Delhi, Calcutta, it would be next to impossible for us to maintain the social distancing. Even if you put 1 feet or 1.5 feet, and if people are living close to each other, you can't maintain the social distancing at all. So we must think about this. Cities like Kailicha, which is also one of the biggest slum areas or townships, we call it, and in South Africa, which is in the Western Cape, close to Cape Town, and that has got within the range of about 38, 40 square kilometers land, and within the 38 to 40 square kilometers land, ladies and gentlemen, more than 400,000, close to 500,000 people are living there, ladies and gentlemen. The density of population is 10,000 for 1 square kilometer. So the list goes on. Kibera is another yet worst slums in African continent, which is closely located to Nairobi and Kenya as a country. So Kibera, we got Kailicha in Cape Town, and we got Soweto, which is also close to Johannesburg. It's about 50 kilometers far away from Johannesburg, a place called Soweto, where Nelson Mandela, the father of the nation, father of South Africa, he also come from Soweto area, ladies and gentlemen. That was a township area. So if you look at these township areas, even you talk about New York City, you talk about any other major cities of the world, there are lots of slum areas, and the slum people, they're also living in a very, very pathetic situations. There is no safe drinking water, there is no drainage, there is no proper toilet facility, and there is a lot of environmental issues, a lot of wastage, garbage has been thrown everywhere, and they are living in such a pathetic situation. And living with lungs diseases, living with so many other health problems because of the environment itself is not conducive for them to live. But they can't afford to live in any other place other than the slum areas. We must think about that. Out of this 7.8 billion people, ladies and gentlemen, more than 1 billion people live in the slum areas. And in Dharavi, more than 1 million people live in Dharavi alone, isn't that 2.1 square kilometers land. So the list goes on. And even in Orangi in Pakistan, more than 2.2 million people live there, near to Karachi. So when we have a situation like this, definitely the crime will be increased. The environment will be degraded. The wastage, we do not know how to clean our wastage. I've been to more than 40 countries in the world, ladies and gentlemen, but Indians, they are the cleverest people in the world. But cleverness is not enough, ladies and gentlemen. We must be disciplined. Discipline and responsibility is more powerful than the cleverness and your intelligence, ladies and gentlemen, your education. So I've seen even smaller countries like Seychelles, I was there, Mauritius, I was there, and Tanzania, probably Darussalam, I was there. And such poor African countries, they could maintain. Eritrea, Asmara, I was there. So such poor countries, they can able to maintain the cleanliness of their cities. Whereas in cities like Mumbai, or probably in Hyderabad, or in Visakhapatnam, and maybe in Pune, and our cities are garbage has been thrown everywhere. Our educated community is sitting here. We must question ourselves that are we doing that? Are we responsible? Are we disciplined? We must question ourselves. When you're traveling by the train, if a foreign tourist is coming to India, they are more responsible. They are taking their garbage into their hand and they're putting it in their pockets. And they carry it. Whenever they see the dustbin, then only they throw the garbage. But our own people, if you look at the trains, if you look at the planes, if you look at the bus stations, if you look at any other market areas, they don't care, throwing the garbage just like that. So how do we expect? We want to live in an environment where we are safe, secured, and peaceful, clean and green, but we never practice the green practices at all. I was mentioning in my previous speech a few days ago that Indore, where Dr. Supriya and Tagore Shiksha Mahavidyalaya is stationed, Indore is the cleanest city in the country. And there are few other cities like Bhopal is also, Vizag is also one of the cleanest cities. Visakhapatnam. But how many cities of India they are cleanest? We must think about that. Going to temple, going to mosque, going to church, praying to Jesus Christ and Allah and maybe Bhagwan or Sri Krishna or Rama or Shiva, it's not enough, ladies and gentlemen. We must clean ourselves. We must keep our environment cleaner and greener. And it is difficult for us to live with that kind of messy environment, ladies and gentlemen. We always think that government will come and clean our mess. Who is the government after all? Government cannot clean your mess, ladies and gentlemen. You have to clean your own mess. And we've been thinking that municipality is going to clean our mess. Absolutely, it's next to impossible. In order for us to develop the sustainable communities, we must be equally responsible. So if you look at this wastage and the energy consumption, the urban areas, the 60% of the people living in urban areas today, they are consuming 75% of the energy resources. When they receive the 75% of the energy resources, they also create 75% of carbon emissions. So meaning that the rural areas, all the rural areas of this world, they are contributing 25% of the carbon emissions, whereas the urban areas are contributing 75% of the emissions. So when there is a high level of consumption of the energy resources, there is also a high element of carbon emissions. And that is what is happening, ladies and gentlemen. That is why there are lungs diseases. Look, go to Bangalore city. There are probably majority of the people, they are suffering with the lung diseases that never happened before. Go to Delhi. There are a lot of people suffering with respiratory problems because of the pollution. So therefore, ladies and gentlemen, we must take care of ourselves. Governments do not take care of ourselves. Government can plan, can do 1, 2, 3, 4, but everything is in the hands of the citizens. The citizens should take the control over. So in order for us to build the sustainable communities, we must be responsible communities first of all. We must be disciplined communities first of all. So if we are disciplined and responsible, we can build a safer community. There are areas where I was living in Cape Town a few years ago, that we are a community police forum. All the people living in that area, we try to create a forum. It's a community police forum. I was one of the police patrolling the area. During the night between 12 o'clock, middle of the night to 2 o'clock, middle of the night, I was patrolling there in order to mitigate the crime. So we do develop, across the globe, we do develop that kind of community police forums because we wanted to safeguard our people. Everybody should get some turn, and maybe 2 hours in 2 days in a week, we must try to protect. So safety, security is one of the important points, ladies and gentlemen. If you are not safe and secured, you're not going to live tomorrow. If you're not living tomorrow, then there's no future for us. There is no environment for us. There is no smart cities for us. So the smart city concept has been developed for the past maybe 30, 40 years time. And the concentration of the people in urban sector has been rapidly increasing. Even Mahatma Gandhi said, probably more than 100 years ago, and Mahatma Gandhi said that the development should take place from the rural villages. It's not a top-down approach, but it is bottom-up approach. The development must take place within the rural areas, and then development should go up so that people will be, it is going to be more sustainable. But now we have too much is concentrated in one urban areas, and too little is concentrated in the rural areas. So that is going to be top heavy and bottom weak. A top heavy, bottom weak construction is always going to be weak and always going to be destructive, and it is not going to be sustainable. We must think about that. So therefore, now the previous speakers also touching upon some of the rural tourism and so on and so forth. We must focus. So when we can focus, we have to build some minimum infrastructure facilities in the rural areas of India, or rural areas of any country in this world. That is education. We need to have a better schools, better health facilities, at least clinics, and maybe the proper roads. We have got Mahatma Gandhi Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, which was enacted by the government of India in 2006. For the past 17 years, probably for the past 15 years down the line, ladies and gentlemen, we could have achieved so much. Billions and billions of rupees has been spent on that particular rural development schemes. But what did we achieve at the end of this 15 years period? We have to question about it. What is the quality of infrastructure that we developed? Did we develop the smart villages? We don't need to think about smart cities, but we need to develop about the smart villages, where you have the proper living environment, a decent living environment. So that is what is important. In the interest of time, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to conclude by stating my sincere thanks to the organizers with the Gossip Association, Dr. Supriya and other colleagues, and also all other participants from different corners of the globe. We got colleagues from Croatia, we got colleagues from Greece, we got colleagues from Philippines and Indonesia, and maybe some of them from South Africa and many other countries. And I must thank every one of you for listening to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for joining us from the land of South Africa. Thank you very much, sir. And you actually enlighten us about the responsible tourism. Yes, we have to follow the responsible tourism if we want the sustainable cities. You also talked about the responsibilities of any tourist. You actually mentioned the responsibilities of what are the responsibilities of the responsible tourist. You also talked about that we need a discipline. We need discipline as a tourist. We have to follow the disciplines when we travel the other cities. You also talked about the different cities of the India. And thank you very much, sir. Mentioned that, yeah, I'm feel very proud. I am a very proud citizen of a cleanest city of the India. And this cleanest city of India is known as Indore, and it is located in a central India, Madhya Pradesh. My state name is Madhya Pradesh. So I'm very proud that I am a citizen of a cleanest city of India. So thank you very much to mention here. And also you talked about the different cities like New York, Washington, D.C. And also you talked about the capital of South Africa, Johannesburg. And you all linked this all cities related to the concepts of sustainable cities and communities. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for joining us, for being with us and enlighten us with your amazing and power-packed session, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
My pleasure, Dr. Supriya, and thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, sir. And moving ahead, I would like to call our next speaker from the land of Oman, Dr. Ali Sayed. Dr. Ali Sayed, are you there? Actually,
yes,
Dr. Ali, yes, here is Dr. Ali Sayed. Actually, he is a surprise element for us because suddenly, by mistake, he left our group of the Witty Gossip by mistake. And immediately, just in a few minutes during this session, he called me. He says me, ma'am, mistakenly, I left the group. So please allow me to talk about the my presentation. So for being a kind gesture, I invited him. So Dr. Ali, please introduce yourself. We want to know more about yourself.
Thank you so much for this great ability to be participate in this conference. I hope my sound it's clear for all.
Yes, sir. Your
my sound is clear.
Yeah, clear, sir.
Okay.
Clear.
I am Ali Al-Matri, Head of Education Technology Department in Ministry of Education. I am in top 50 Global Teacher Prize in 2017, winner Khalifa Innovation Teaching Award in 2017, winning a research for a global Arab country in 2016. And I am a researcher looking for make good community with other researchers from other worlds. And it's my pleasure to be a part of this event. So my talk, it will be about the role of families. What is the new roles of families and schools in the corona pandemic? Especially, we are facing many challenges, like Prof. Ravindra said in his speech. We need smart village, we need smart cities, and also the challenge that we are facing in some apply experiments, especially in distance learning during the corona pandemic. So can I share my present? I want to share my present.
Sorry, I am making you co-host, sir.
Okay, sure.
Yes, sir. Now you can share, sir.
Okay, sure. Thank you. I hope now it's clear. Actually, this topic related to our talk, especially in Goal 11, sustainable cities. That's why we need stable cities because in this case, in this level in our life, in this we don't feel like before. Now we live in challenge, you know, and in Oman we have many type of environments. Maybe some Indians friends know well about Oman because we have desert, we have sea, we have mountains, and we have a lot of challenges that maybe make challenges for our education system for e-learning. But there's a lot of things that government provide in this case. So my presentation will be school and family roles. In distance learning from perspective of parents in Sultanate of Oman during corona pandemic. This research with my colleague, Dr. Amel. Actually, maybe more than 100 times, or you see this map. This when the corona starts, and we see a lot of schools. It's closed, especially around the world, at UNESCO reports. Also, according to World Bank reports, more than 1.6 million students cannot go to a school, cutting off education. So in April 2020, decision-making process regarding when school reopens support what they will do. The next step. This is also in the end of November 2020. Some of school returned back, but by blended learning. As we do in Sultanate of Oman now, we are blended learning. Also, this reports done by UNESCO and UNICEF and World Bank show the result of second indicate survey education reports. So as we see, a lot of school came back by online platforms, by television, by radio, by take-home backups, and also it's independent by which way they can learn. Actually, and by doing, you know, in Oman, we as a parent, we faced many challenges. In the first time when they are starting, especially in We start in November 2020. We start our first semester. Last November 2020, and we faced many challenges, especially with devices, with the internet connection, and at this time, maybe we return back in some conference in GIS Dubai or GITEX in Oman. They are talking about smart cities. They talk about smart cities, and as you say, we're talking about smart villages. Yes, we need it because we miss these points, especially when we are in pandemic. So I know the whole world, they are not ready for this pandemic. So what the families do, what schools do, sure they will face a lot of challenges. This is my study problem. This is study questions. We are looking for school rules and family rules. Also, if there is any relation statistical significant different. Also, what the most important challenge experience from distance education considering COVID-19. Also, what are the way to reduce the challenges facing distance education? We apply in North Sharqiya government, and also study population and symbols about we take a school principal, we took parents also. Actually, we are facing in parent 222 and 22,655. This is our community, but in this community, in Oman family, maybe in one family we have 11. We have football teams, so maybe they will repeat some of students. Say tools. We done questionnaire for 45 items, and this is for stability. The result, actually, the level of school rules distance learning was high, 4.3. Also, the technical school came in the first with 4.5 also, and the second, the academic school, and the third was the social schools rules. We then, so we have technical rules, we have academic rules, and social rules. And as you see, the level can come up. The second question also, we ask parents, we know the school rules. What about you? What about the family rules? We ask them for 3 rules: family rules, school rules, also, and social rules. The social school rules came in the first. Also, the academic rules, the way of student learning, and technical can come in 4.3 in third. But as you see, the average, it's near together. I go for the last result. Okay, the first question: what are the most important challenges we face? The most common challenges are the network. As I see before, in Oman, we have different environments. We have mountains. Some places need to make small station for the internet. As the government provide some satellite internet for some school that's in the mountains, maybe for 500 what's it called, internet satellite connection. It's provided for schools. It's provided by government to solve this problem. Also, the support environment. We have also many challenges in environment in our homes. As I see before, maybe in one family we have 11 children. We have 6 of them, they are learning. They need devices. They need devices, and also how much it costs these devices for the parents. And also there's a lot of homeworks that's provided for the students. As a parent, I have 5 daughters, and maybe in each day more than 40 homework, and all the time they are staying in the front of their devices. The first question: what the government will do for solve this problem? As I said before, they provide internet, Wi-Fi internet for all the schools, around 550 schools, for supporting e-learning. Also, they provide 60,000 devices for social families. That's a help from government. Recommendation and proposal. Actually, in school, they need well about the social. They need well about this stage of e-learning, or also the mass education before. They not clear about what is the kind of learning, because we done this research before one semester. Also, parent awareness. We need to give support for the families for buying a device, especially that families, they have more than 6 students, 6 of their sons or daughters in the family, involving the infrastructure and technical and technological equipment in public school. Proposal: the current study come with the following proposal. That's all my talk. In this presentation, I share my thoughts about what is the challenge if we have smart cities or smart villages. If we are ready before, I know maybe all the world are not ready for this crisis. Maybe the America, maybe like India. I know India. From the first economic like America, like China, and they are not ready. Maybe the Gulf country, they have petrols, but they are not ready. Maybe all the country face this problem. So if you have a smart village, and we hope to be in the future. We don't want to stay in the coronavirus for 10 years, and we don't do anything. Developing smart cities, developing smart villages, and I hope also for the whole world be in the peace and all be safe, inshallah. Thank you so much for this great opportunity to be a participant, and thank you so much for Prof. Ravender, because his speech is very valuable. Thank you so much, and thank you for the moderator for this meeting. Thank you so much, and also thank you. A big rating from Oman. I know Indian is our friends. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. And as our goal is sustainable cities and sustainable communities. So first we need a parents support. First we need a student supports. We need a family supports to build sustainable communities. Only the education will bring this change to make the sustainable cities and sustainable communities. If our young minds, yes, sir, thank you. If our young minds are educated enough about these sustainable goals, about the concept of sustainable cities and sustainable communities, only when we can achieve the targets of Sustainable Development Goal 11 by 2030, which is set by the United Nations. So
Yes.
thank you. So thank you, Dr. Ali, for joining us from the land of Oman. Thank you very much. And
Thank you.
as your presentation is full of research, facts, and I can see in your presentation you have involved some kind of questionnaires and you research a lot. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Okay. And moving ahead, I would like to call our keynote speaker from the India, Dr. Vedahi. Ma'am Vedahi, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good afternoon, good morning, as we are meeting from different places. It's my proud privilege to be here in this Sustainable Development Goal number 11 Summit, organized by the dynamic lady founder of Leading Lady Foundation, Dr. Priya Sawant, along with Witty Gossip Association, and organized by Tagore Shiksha Mahavidyalaya under the convenership of Dr. Supriya Pathak. Along
Thank
with
you very much, ma'am.
all these,
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt you. Dr. Ali, could you please stop sharing the screen?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Here we can see your beautiful face, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay,
Yeah.
please continue. Please
Yeah.
continue.
So, along with me, Dr. Priya, Dr. Tan, Dr. Rajkumar, Dr. Jina, Dr. Ravinder, and Dr. Ali, all these co-speakers, it's really a great pleasure to see you. See, when the match is going on, batting at the end has got certain advantages and disadvantages. Because in the beginning, people have already batted well and scored lot many runs, and at the end, you had nothing to do much because the match is already won by the earlier one. But yet, the contribution towards the end is also a thing to be considered, because the master stroke comes from the last person for winning. I consider it in a very positive manner that though I am the last, I am not the least, and therefore I would definitely be contributing to these all speeches and the talks and the views and all of the things. So let us start with year 2000, Millennium Development. And we had Millennium Development Goals to be achieved by 2015. And then we could find that the goals which were related to human development and poverty eradication, nothing much could be attained. And therefore, United Nations came out with Sustainable Development Goals. Now, if we have to think in terms of Sustainable Development Goals, we have to also think in terms of the people, the children who are living in remote areas. As a teacher, I believe in that as compared to 1,000 words, one diagram is sufficient, as visibility makes a lot of impact on the minds of students. And as compared to one diagram, one action is sufficient to imbibe values on the student's mind. Therefore, I believe in some points in visible forms in the present, in front of the audience, and therefore, Supriya, if you allow me, I would like to go ahead with my PowerPoint presentation.
Sorry. Sure, ma'am. I'm making you a co-host now. Yes, ma'am. Please share your screen, ma'am. Yeah.
I'm sharing.
Okay.
Are you able to
Yes.
see it? Yeah.
Yes. Please make a slideshow, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah. So we start with sustainable development. I would just like to give 3 sentences which are so important as features of sustainable development because they are universal in nature. It is for each and every citizen of the world who needs to be the part of it. It is the world we want, we have to establish by 2030. So it is Agenda 2030. It is the goals are indivisible in nature, meaning thereby no goal is standing isolated. They are all well connected. There is absolutely no hierarchy or any sort of priority, but all goals are equally important because they belong to basic needs and rights of people. Third and very important thing is all these goals are really transformational in nature, wherein we are supposed to convert the current challenges into the opportunities. And how can we do that? That is being tried upon by every country in the best manner possible. Therefore, when we talk about 3 P's, I want to talk to you today about 5 P's. What are these 5 P's? Yes, the right side diagram will give more light on this particular point. We are having people for whom they need to end the poverty and hunger and all forms of inequalities, dignity and equalities to be established. We need to take care of planet. Mahatma Gandhi said, earlier speaker referred to this particular point. Nature has enough of resources, but no for everybody's needs, but not for anybody's greed. So we must take care of the planet. We have to protect our planet and natural resources, and we need to think climate change has been experienced in every possible manner every day. When it's not a rainy season in Maharashtra, it's raining and the whole crop is almost grounded. If that is the case, who is responsible? We human beings are responsible for taking nature for granted, and therefore planet needs to be taken care of. We cannot just think of silos. We have to work in linkages, collaborations, and networking. Therefore, it is the collaborative efforts of the world which is going to help us to survive in this world. So, partnership is very important. Next one is prosperity. What for we are here on the earth? Our productivity, our work, everything has to lead to generation of income. But let us keep in mind for what, at what cost, and therefore we need to take care of. Yes, we need to take care of the prosperity of the people. Yes, I suppose I am able to uh, display properly my video.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
yeah. And towards the end, the 5th P, which is very important, is peace. Because ultimately, if there is no peace in this world, the whole development has got no value. And that peace has to be not only in the lives of people, it has to be in the minds of people. I'm sure Dr. Priya would agree with me. It is mental peace, it is inner peace which helps people to establish the outer space. Otherwise, there will be a lot of conflicts and the problems in the society also as well. So, all these 5 P's, if we want to attain for the community level, then I think the goal 11, which is so closely related with so many other earlier, at least 9 goals, very closely integrated with it, that we will be able to really attain. So, we come to the point, how will the smart cities would be able to help us to attain these 5 P's? But before that, we have to take a quick recap of urbanization. I know Dr. Priya and earlier speakers have also talked. I would give you minimum amount of statistics to prove my point that urbanization is something which is going to have the responsibility of integration, of combination, of competitiveness, capital, and sustainability, making possible for smart living. Because a city which makes living of people livable, wherein people really are finding themselves safe, happy, resilient. It will be possible only in the smartest way if we study the problems of urbanization. World over, Dr. Rajendra had given the statistics. I would just add 2018, we had 55% of the population in urban area, but world over, we expect by 2050, 68% of the people. India has 2.4% of area in the world on the map, but 16% of people in the world are in India. We are having 31% of the people living in urban areas today, contributing 63% of India's GDP, which we expect in 2030, the contribution would go up people to 40% with GDP growth up to 75. But these figures are really deceptive because World Bank report of 2015 categorically talks about urbanization in India is messy. It has got hidden growth of slum-like area where you find that there are problems which Dr. Priya has already talked about. I will not talk much, but yes, it's messy because agglomeration index in terms of density of population, in terms of whatever basic infrastructure is available, that shows that the percentage is actually going to be more than 60% by 2030, and no city unfortunately is topping in the 85 sustainable cities in the world. That is something which we need to think about, and that is why this smart city mission 2015 came into came into existence, and how our prime ministership could think about it, what is the concept, all that needs to be talked about. As I said, all these total 17 SDGs are closely related with sustainable smart cities, and therefore, let us talk about this particular point. Similarly, we remember one point. When we talk about urbanization and cities, yes, urbanization is growth of cities and towns, wherein world over 80% of the total energy is being consumed by cities. In foreign countries, we just cannot think of electricity without electricity. Everything depends upon electricity, power, and all that. 70% of the carbon oxide or CO2 emissions are because of this. So if the growth of cities is going to be there, then obviously, therefore, we need to think about these points, which is going to hamper our ecology and environment. What is a smart city? Smart city is definitely not a Swadeshi concept. The concept varies across the countries, and every country has got different type of the notion about it, suitable to its own, what we can say, the requirement. It is area specific. It is resilient cities that can more readily make available social, environmental, and other amenities. Smart cities leverage technology that Dr. Tan had talked about it, giving example of Singapore. But let me tell you, Dr. Tan, it is available in India also in south part, where we are having technologically best, remote best toilets, wherein good facilities are available. So India is also not lagging behind, and especially for last 6 years, the tremendous efforts on the part of government so far, whether it is a cleanliness drive, whether it is Ayush, whether it is insurance, all the types of facilities you will find that has been for the betterment of life of people. And therefore, we utilize existing and planned infrastructure investments to provide a higher quality of living to the residents, conducive investment climate for business, and to allow optimized resources. So my emphasis would be, how do we optimize the resources along with transparency of the government? Yes, Oxfam Living Australia, that concept of smart city is given as access to public resources such as quality education, safe health centers, easy access to public transportation, garbage collection services, safety and good air quality, telecommunication, parks, insurance, building. So there is no area where there should be any trouble to the people. their living has to be comfortable. There is a concept called as quality of life. So if we can think about the better quality of life for the people, I think that is what is expected. So what are the smart city indicators? In smart city, all the indicators are about the smartness of people. The people find that the growth of the society is inclusive one. They embrace creativity, and they are in a position to get and provide for the society 21st century education. It should not be outdated one, but the updated one. Smart economy. What do we mean by smart economy? An economy which is able to generate more resources through innovative practices, whereby the inputs are lesser, outputs are more, so that the incremental productivity is being seen, and we are having better and more global and local interconnections. That is a smart economy. Smart governance essentially means that the services are provided at no time, at much possible. It is transparent one, and at the same time, it makes use of e-governance and ICT. Slowly, we are finding this type of changes even in our local governments. So slowly, smart governance is increasing. We have smart mobility. Almost all functions people should be in a position to conduct with the help of a small 3 by 4 weapon in their hand, that is mobile, which is very, very effective one through the use of integrated ICT, clean options, mixed modal access, and special purpose vehicles. Smart environment, which means buildings are green, urban planning is green, energy is green, the renewable energy is thought of, non-conventional energy like solar. Yes, we had earlier in our flat system that every builder has to have solar, but are they really working? Now we cannot think of just giving licenses for continue or completion certificates for the builders. No, it has to be operational all throughout, and therefore regular checking of such type of systems is necessary. Waste and water management and sanitation, all this has to be conducted in a very smart manner. And last but not least, smart living, which is the essence core of establishing this type of smart cities. So a very safe, healthy, and culturally vibrant and happy lives people should have, and that is the basic purpose. So we will find that the whole life is getting transformed through digitalization, ICT, then this type of new innovations, which we call today as disruptive technology, which is animation and artificial intelligence, which will help us to introduce innovations, but all the innovations should have a social context. We cannot keep that sight of, because we have to create such a type of replicable model which becomes a lighthouse for other countries to follow. So we can think of three different models for this type of development of smart cities. One model is refitting, fitting. Then the second one is redevelopment, and the third one is greenfield. I may add on this particular point little later if question answer session is there, because I think psychology says not more than 60 minutes people would be in a position to concentrate. And Dr. Priya, we have been sitting here almost for 3 hours. So I don't want to, trouble more my young minds. But if they are curious, I would surely be interested in giving them this type of information. So what is the composition of smart cities? You will find the governance is at the top level. 37% is the governance. Smart energy is 24%. It means that save energy as much possible and make use of more renewable energy. That is the emphasis. Infrastructure, 11%. Transportation, 11%. 10% is smart healthcare. Today we find that healthcare system is in bad shape. We are not spending even 2% of our total expenditure on health. Smart buildings would occupy 7% so far as the composition is considered. So this is what the important components are. Now, Smart cities will have four components or the pillars so far as the holistic development is considered. It is the institutional framework which is so important for the development of the smart cities if they want to become sustainable and community development oriented cities. Physical infrastructure in terms of everything is so important. Social aspects and economic aspects cannot be overlooked at all. And therefore, I feel what are the components we must study in the form of three different type of things. Economic progress, we have to make our economy highly competitive one. Employment growth opportunities need to be created. Service sector is one thing where we need to create more employment opportunities. Affordable housing and efficient urban mobility. See, one of the important points in smart cities, how quickly I would be able to reach the city hospital, how quickly I would be able to reach my workplace. So housing also, which has been the part of our national agenda of that Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru Urban Mission, that is also being considered. Governance, I talked about. Incubators, skill development centers. We are emphasizing for our children, our students, that skill development is must. 21st century, people need to, as that future belongs to those who are ready to not learn, but unlearn and relearn. That is what it is. So new skills need to be imbibed by us, and teachers, students need to really understand the significance and must cope up with this. Specialized business parks, hubs, etc. All this would be the part of the economic progress of the cities. Then environmental progress, much has been talked in the by the earlier speakers also. I would emphasize more on climate change mitigation and adaptation. Mitigation is something after having created havoc, we are trying to mitigate the problem. But we have to have the approach of prevention is better than cure. And therefore, enough is gone, whatever has been done. But now, henceforth, we should be more careful. And therefore, green buildings, green energy, green societies, all this type, and maintaining quality and air. That is also important part of the environmental progress. Management of natural resources, including biodiversity and green cover. Let us remember, and I think Corona has helped us to understand one point, that every life is important, whether it is small animal or whether it is human being. We cannot undermine the importance of every person in the nature. And therefore, we need to think of biodiversity and green cover. Then social development, human rights is very, very important. Let the marginals be also taken into confidence. Let the progress. If Mahatma Gandhi talked about it, when you are undertaking any work, just think about the last person in the society. Is it going to make any impact on his life? If your answer is yes, please do that. Are we thinking about this, or are we thinking about the top 10% who are interested in gathering more wealth? That should not be the approach while undertaking various projects under the social development projects under the smart cities mission. Recreation facilities, community halls, and where the people would find the entertainment and other things, and planning of urban areas. All these points are so important. But then there are certain challenges. This is not possible without having thought of certain important aspects. Climate change and carbon emissions. So the presentation suggestions what youth gave, yeah, we are wasting unnecessarily national wealth by way of one person going in the car. Why can't we have carpooling? When the food is getting wasted in industries, why cannot it be distributed to the poor people who really want it? One of the NGOs at Bangalore, Swabhiman, they are doing such a wonderful job of distributing, collecting the subsidized that food which is available in various companies, collecting it from different sources, companies, and distributing it to 1,000 people every day. I think such a gigantic job they are doing, because even food wasted is responsible for a lot of carbon monoxide and different type of environments. And wastage of food itself is a great waste, I suppose, because we say it is a parabrahma. So if that is the thing, then we need to think about the point. Unwarranted consumption and production. We are not much bothered about energy consumption. Fans go on, ACs are on at the speed of at the number 17 and 20 and all that. I think we need to think about these points very carefully, and how best can we live with less energy and all that. Human development, taking care of the various aspects of whether it is the pregnant women, child, malnutrition, all these points we need to take care of, along with their health education also, with training and the skills imbibing practices. Lack of greater access to public resources. In Mumbai, only 22% of people are able to make use of public transport, and there is so much of rush. 17% people in slum areas do not have even latrines. If that is the condition, what to think of the health of people? If such conditions continue, then I think smart cities mission will not happen. So we have to really think about these challenges. But yes, clouds cannot stop the sun from shining. It is our efforts. It is our, genuine interest in the objective. It is our collective efforts which will help us to find out the solutions. And definitely, therefore, there are solutions. We have to engage the citizens in the governance. It is said that you get what you deserve. If we are not responsible citizens to vote poll, then definitely we are going to get bad government. So we have to be really alert and responsive. It is the active involvement of private sector which is must. Today we cannot say that public sector government will do everything. No, it has to be the best blending of private and public PPP model which should be make use of, because this type of smart cities mission, which is a very ambitious project, which is having 48,000 crores of funding from the state and equivalent amount from the state, from the center, and equivalent amount from the state, is not going to be sufficient one. And already in last 5 years more than double amount has already been spent. If that is so, the state governments who are going to come out with their own models need to find out the external and internal sources to tap innovative ways to collect the financial resources. We have to have access to the universal public services like digital platforms and citizen awareness. Digital India mission is really working well, and it has been spreading even to the rural areas so well. So I think that will definitely be helpful. We need to have long-term shift towards the renewable energy sources. As I said, solar in my college, we have installed solar energy, and I tell you from my experience, last 4 years, our electricity bill is not even 30%. In fact, many a times we get credit from the electricity distribution center, which means that there is enough of resources available from nature, and we have to make use of it. 3 R's: reuse, recycle, and all that has been talked about. Digital India mission I just referred. Strengthening schemes like Jawaharlal Nehru Urban Rehabilitation and Mission, and the Pura, that is making provision of urban amenities for the rural people, so that we are able to stop the rural people coming to urban areas, so that slum development, slum growth, unnecessary, that growth is unnecessary being there, that can be stopped as such. So much of attraction towards cities that can be reduced to if we can provide those amenities of urban areas in rural areas. That's a nice concept of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. So we need to really think more about that. So Janadhana Yojana is also there, Aadhaar and mobile. All these things can be thought of. So what is the way ahead? Way ahead is finding out the perfect business model for smart cities mission. See, we are having 3 models, and you will find with these 3 models, out of 100 cities, certain cities are already taken a back seat. Mumbai, New Panvel, New Mumbai, then Kolkata. There are some examples which are withdrawn from the competition of the smart cities. Environmental resilience was talked by our earlier speaker from Philippines, and even Dr. Chan talked about it. So I think that is something to be taken care of specially. And very important, participation of people, increasing use of ICTs and mobile based tools, energy efficient systems. All this has to be embraced by people. Gandhiji, again, I would refer, we talk about change, but let us be the change to see what change we want to bring into this world. So let's the beginning be from ours. Let us see in what best manner can I save energy, what best manner can I save water at my home, what best manner can I save and make use of my food for others also. So many things. So people need to get involved in the whole process of development. And I feel in that case, Smart Cities Mission in India has the power to transform the life of people and ability to reduce the inequalities in our society. In fact, as compared to all other the sustainable developments, which is having the goal of transformation, for this particular goal, I say it is a goal of transformation. Smart cities can transform the nations through 3 R's. They are responsive, they become responsible, and they become resilient, so that if we decide to come out of our silos, if we decide to have collective action, if we decide to have collaborative approach, nothing can stop us from making this country, India, a very powerful and strong nation. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to share my views with all of you. Thank you. Thank you, Supriya. Thank you, Priya.
Thank you, Dr. Vaidehi, for energizers. Thank you very much. I must say you are a very pleasant speaker. Very pleasant speaker. And in your talk, as you gave us the concept of 5 Ps, the concept of 5 Ps. So I am reviewing your 5P concepts as like that. If we want prosperity in the world, it is only possible when we will work on people's partnership. And this people's partnership will help us to make planet peaceful. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much. And you also talked about many concepts, many means research, many ideologies given by the our father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi. So thank you very much, ma'am, for joining us. Thank you very much. Yeah. Sorry, ma'am, please do this. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. So I think there is a means time to say goodbye. We had all the presentations beautifully, wonderfully, with all the speakers around the world who gathered here to enlighten us about the Sustainable Development Goal 11, sustainable cities and sustainable communities. On behalf of Witty Gossip Association, I would like to thank everyone present here. I would like to thank each and every eminent speaker who enlighten us with the amazing research, amazing facts, and with the amazing verbal speech also. Thank you very much for all of you for joining us today. And I would like to thank also Priya Sawant ma'am to bring these eminent speakers together. And I would like to also thank Dr. Tan for enlightening us, giving the concepts of toilet to tape, right? The concept came from the Singapore. And I also would like to thank Dr. Geena. She is from the Philippines, and she enlightened us about the tourism. She linked the tourism and the sustainable cities and the sustainable communities concepts. And thank you very much, Ravindra Rana sir, for joining us from the South Africa. you enlighten us about the responsible tourism. I must say, if we need a sustainable communities, sustainable cities, so we have to work on the responsible tourism. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So it is time to say goodbye. We will definitely meet you again with the other goal 12, sustainable development goal 12. And here I would like to announce something. On 17th April and on 18th April, we have an award ceremony. We have a conclusion ceremony of the Global Peace and Sustainable Development Summit. And in the award ceremony, we will felicitate those people who are participating as a guest speaker around the world. We will felicitate those speakers who enlighten us with the best presentations. So every day I'm making the notes. My whole committee members are making the notes to select the best presentations. And we will definitely felicitate to all the guest speakers with some titles. We will choose 17 guest speakers. We will choose 17 guest speakers who give us the best presentations of the day related to all these sustainable development goals. So please be there with us on 17th April and on 18th April, because on 17th and on 18th, there will be a Saturday and Sunday, the weekend. So I think you can join us on 17th and 18th, and definitely we will rock on 17th and 18th. So thank you very much for supporting us, for supporting this event. Thank you very much. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Zab. That was great.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Ravindra Rana, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Vadayi ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye for now.
Safe. Stay safe.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank you.
stay safe. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you, Geena. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay.